Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Um, You'll be with us for the next 45, 50 minutes or so. We'll get started right at the top of the hour. So hope you're comfortable. Grab a cup of coffee or whatever you need at this time. We'll be starting shortly. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. You're attending the spring town hall for the Elevate program. So thank you for joining us today. We have a bunch of folks that are filing into the webinar as I speak. We will be starting right at the top of the hour. So by my clock, I'm, got another minute or so. So enjoy. All right, by my clock here, I'm coming to you live from the Mannequin Building in College Park. Jack and I are both in the same building today, which is kind of fun. By my clock on my computer, I've got the top of the hour, so we will go ahead and get started. We want to wrap this up so you all have an opportunity to get to your next top of the hour meetings or lunch, or maybe even take advantage of the wonderful weather we're going to be having here in College Park today. So before we start with the presentation, again, I want to welcome you to the Elevate program Spring 23 Town Hall. I have 3 housekeeping items to go over with you. First, we have enabled the live transcript, and this will enable you to turn on or off your closed captioning as you see fit. Second is we are recording today's session, and a recording of the town hall will be made available within a week once we get it remediated for accessibility. And you as an attendee today will receive an email notification when that recording is available to view on the website. And last, and probably my favorite of the housekeeping items, is the Q&A feature. We have enabled the webinar Q&A feature, so we encourage you to submit your questions throughout the presentation. We have a bunch of panelists working in the background with us today that are going to be triaging those questions and trying to get answers back to you. For those questions that we need to maybe do more research or we run out of time, we do have your email address, and we will be following up with everyone that submitted a question. So you will get your answer, if not today, at some point soon. And with that, I will now turn it over to Jack Blanchard for the balance of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Gay. And good morning, everyone. I'm glad that you're all here. We are over 319 attending so far. Yesterday, we had 360. So it's great to see the interest and engagement from across our campuses. Today, I'll be walking you through the following agenda. I'll start with a brief overview of the Elevate program. I'll talk about an important decision that was made this month, and it's another important decision that will be made in March. That will transition us into talking about training, and then past training, what to expect when we go live July of this summer. I'll also talk about how we will support Workday and our users after go live. And then I'll transition and talk a little bit about the work that we're doing with Workday Student. So I want to give a quick recap about what Elevate is. I think many of you are familiar with the program, but we have new employees onboarding with the university continually. So just very quickly, what is the Elevate program trying to do? What problem are we trying to fix? And essentially, this focuses on our enterprise resource planning system, our ERP system. This is the computing backbone infrastructure of the university that allows us to get our work done. This includes our financial systems, Quality Finance, our human resources system, HR, and then ultimately our student system, and I'm going to be talking more about that later in the presentation. These systems are obsolete and can no longer meet the complex needs of a flagship research university. This program involves multiple campuses. First, we have the University of Maryland College Park, including our Shady Grove connections. We have the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science, and the University System of Maryland main office. All of us piggyback, if you will, onto the same HR systems and the same finance system, the quality finance system. So welcome to all of you who are attending from our different partner organizations. It's great to have you on board, and it's been a wonderful collaboration as we all work together for this transformation. So the new platform that we will migrate to is called Workday. This is a cloud-based system. It will change the way we do our work because it will be a fully integrated system that is more user-friendly, more efficient than the outdated systems that we have now. A single system. So we're not logging into and out of 3 or 4 or 5 different systems during our day to get our work done. I want to play for you a video from some of our campus leadership in our central offices, talking about what they expect from Workday.
Well, when I think about the transition to Workday, this transformation really means a way for the campus to move fearlessly forward together. It is a powerful system that's used by leading organizations around the world, and it is also used by many of our peer institutions across the country. And it means that we can transition out of some cumbersome systems that we've been using for many decades into a system that is more modern and more intuitive and easier to use. So it's an opportunity for us to really standardize and streamline our business processes.
Probably the biggest impact of this transformation for faculty, staff, and students is having everything in one place. There will be one solution that people go to, whether it's dealing with their financials, doing HR actions, or assisting students with student information in the future state. So having everything in one place will help us to be more efficient and more effective in the duties that we carry out.
Oh, I'm extremely excited about the financial reporting areas. It'll bring a lot more clarity and visibility in our reporting and puts everything in a clean dashboard. So that's exciting for us.
One positive impact of Workday on our business unit is that it'll provide the opportunity for us to be out of the middle of the business of the campus departments where we don't need to be and where we don't bring value. I think that's going to be huge. Campus departments will be able to get things done more time efficiently, and where they don't need to involve us, we don't need to be there.
The first positive impact that I think that Workday is going to have on UHR and also on the employees that we support is with regard to timesheets. So employees who have multiple positions, like many of our student employees, will now only have one timesheet. So it's going to make it easier for the employee as well as easier on the back end for the processing of that time. And also with regard to timesheets, employees will submit their time off requests in Workday instead of doing it by email or some other system that the department might have. And then exempt employees will no longer have to complete timesheets, only time off requests.
So when we talk about migrating off our current legacy systems and moving to Workday, one of the questions that comes up is, well, what systems are we getting rid of? What systems are we retiring? And so that's what you see on this slide. On the left is a list of those systems that are related to human capital management, HCM, are also thought of as HR systems. And on the right are systems involved with finance. The chief ones that people are familiar with, of course, are payroll and human resources, PHR, and the quality finance systems. All of these are listed on our website that you see there. I will repeatedly refer to the Elevate website. It's a great place to go for updated information and detailed information such as this. So in terms of where we are, I just want to go from a high level, these three work streams. The one I'm really going to be focusing on for most of this presentation is that red work stream, finance and human capital management. We started in January 2021. We are now in 2023 looking at a go live in July. So I'm going to drill down into that and talk more about that work stream. Adaptive planning is another Workday tool for budgeting. A smaller number of users on campus will use this. It will be an important and valuable tool, but I'm not going to be talking about that today. Later in my presentation, I'm going to pivot to talking about the very important work that we'll be doing about our student implementation. The student systems that we have on our campus will also eventually be replaced. This will be in fall of 2026. I do want to point out that the student system is staggered this way for technical reasons. We have to build out that finance and HCM as a foundation to then do student. So drilling down into that red work stream, this is the calendar of our implementation. And you can see we've come a long way since January 2021. Here we are in February of 2023. And you can see that I've highlighted April, May, and June as when we will start deploying training. And training then will continue throughout the summer into the fall, but just highlighting those months for individuals who need to be ready for go live in July. I'll unpack more details about the dates in July and what will be happening. What I want to talk about now is a decision that was made this month and another decision that will be made next month so that you can understand how we're evaluating our program. But before I do that, I do want to point out that all of these decisions, all of the progress that we've been making rely on individuals who've been contributing to the program. We have on the left project implementation teams, or what we call PIC crews, over 360 staff from all of our partner organizations, contributing literally thousands of hours of time over the last year and a half to bring information to the Elevate program and help us with decision-making and configuration and other issues, but also serving as a conduit back to their colleges, divisions, their campuses to share information about the program. So I genuinely am appreciative for all the time and effort that these individuals have made. It's only through their participation that we've been able to succeed and get to where we are now. I also want to acknowledge our faculty advisory committee. We have 20 faculty members representing individuals who are department chairs, center director, tenure track, as well as PTK faculty. They're giving us a faculty perspective. And one of the things that they're currently doing now is helping us pilot some of the online computer-based training that we're doing to make sure that faculty are experiencing this in the same way that our staff are, that it's useful for them. So the decision I noted that recently happened and will happen again in March is what's called a go, no-go assessment. What this refers to is a very standardized and rigorous approach to determining the progress that we're making and if we're confident that we remain on track to go live in July. So this just happened early this month. And this goes beyond simply asking me or anyone else on the program, hey, what's your gut feeling on this? Do you think we're going to make it for July? We rigorously look at 278 items. Many of these are technical. Are we passing tests as we look at the configurations, the integrations that we've done? And then we're also asking different functional areas about their appraisals of their readiness. This doesn't mean, are we ready to go live today? What it means is when we do this evaluation, do we feel that we're on that trajectory to accomplish our goals, given the remaining runway that we have available, the time that we have available? So we just went through this process in February. Those metrics end up developing a report from the Elevate program. They then make a recommendation that went to the steering committee, that then goes up to our sponsors, including our provost. And then finally, we had a meeting with President Pines, and we summarized all the information that had been gathered, all the decisions and recommendations of these groups. And on February 13th, President Pines confirmed that we are currently a go for July of 2023. And that was unanimous across all the levels of assessment. But I want to emphasize, this is not the last time we do this. And in particular, in the next slide, you'll see, we just finished that first go, no go checkpoint here in February. At the end of March, early April, we'll have another checkpoint. And what we'll be doing is looking at remaining issues that we may have identified in this current checkpoint in early February, and we'll be reevaluating those. Have we made progress? Did we correct the things that were of concern? And where do we stand? Because we want to make that determination right before we go providing training in late April. So that next checkpoint is going to be critical. We'll go through the same evaluative process, and that decision will be shared out with all of our groups, all of our partner organizations. So you will know, do we remain on path and are we still proceeding ahead? As I stand before you virtually, we are on track and we are looking at a go live for July. So we are all behaving towards that goal. But of course, we'll learn more at the end of March, early April. So as we make progress through March and we finish the work that we're doing and our next evaluation, then we're going to transition to delivering training. And just an overview, this is a slide that we've used in other presentations, but just to put everyone in the same place. Training registration will start in mid-April. Mid-late April, people will have access to take on-demand computer-based courses. About 80% of our training is going to be through those on-demand computer courses. Then there'll be additional courses depending on the roles that you have, the job that you have. The more work you do in HCM, the more work you do in finance, the more courses, of course, you'll have to learn how to use those systems. All of this is complemented by over 400 job aids. These are PDFs that have screenshots, step-by-step instructions to do a wide variety of functions to support individuals as they are going into the system, even after training. And then we'll have user labs where people will be able to go into Zoom sessions and work virtually with an instructor having access to the Workday system. And this slide just summarizes a lot of what I just said. The computer-based training will be delivered via Elms Canvas. Again, registration in April. This is tied to what your security role is, what you do in Workday, and you will be provided with a list of recommended and optional courses. So all of us will know what we need to do in terms of learning about Workday and being able to move forward. So again, this is a slide that we've used in different contexts. It gives you a good overview about expectations for the amount of time that people should be expecting for training. For a general user, this would be, for example, a faculty member who might not have any administrative duties and they may not have any grants. They could expect about 45 minutes of training through an online course. And they would also supplement that with the use of the job aids I mentioned. And then as you progress and you have more responsibilities, more roles in HCM or a finance user, you see that you're going to have more training. On average, 6.75 hours for an HCM user, 5.75 hours for finance. So again, the amount of training that you have will differ by the user. And we will have detailed information as we move into March and April and getting ready for deploying training, where people will be able to find detailed information about the training that they're expected to complete. And again, I want to point you to the Elevate website. We now have a training section on that website that answers questions, provides a list of courses that will be delivered. And as we get closer to registering for training and actual training, we'll have more details here on how to find out what other courses you specifically will be taking and how long that you can expect on that training to take place over time. So the next thing I want to talk about is, okay, we've done all of our training, you've prepared. What will happen when we go live in July? What should all of us expect? So I just want to define a little bit what cutover is. It's this process of transitioning our data from our current legacy systems, Quality Finance, PHR, and then converting those data and placing those within Workday and checking those data to make sure that they're accurate so that when people log into Workday, they are now working with accurate data. The cutover is not something that you do overnight. So we're not going to go to bed on Monday night using PHR and wake up Tuesday morning, flip a switch, and we're in Workday. We need a sliver of time to allow us to convert the data in transition. And that's what we mean by this cutover. And I'm going to show you in the subsequent slide what that period of time is going to look like in July. But this is an important announcement. We are planning on going live July 17th of 2023. So this is a date that people can start planning for. And since training is going to be starting to be provided in late April, it gives folks plenty of time to get ready for that new platform and learning how to do Workday. But I want to come back to this cutover planning that I mentioned. So at the top of this slide, what you see is our current state. And that arrow on the left shows you what June is typically like. Certainly last summer, this is what we all experienced. And in the pale blue, you see standard freeze dates. Because in the current system, we have freeze dates where we have the last date you can do something as we try to close out our books and get ready for the end of the fiscal year. The last day you can submit procurement requests, for example. Then July 1, we start a new fiscal year. So this is what you'll be anticipating for this upcoming summer. One of the goals that we had was to try to preserve June as much as possible, because in engaging our different user groups, what we repeatedly heard was that June is a complicated, busy month. We're getting ready for the end of the fiscal year. There's reporting that needs to be done. There's hiring that's happening. And so that message came back to the Elevate team. And what you see here is trying to deliver exactly that. So instead of going live the way we had thought about initially, July 1, what we've done is pushed our go live to July 17th. And what that allows us to do is preserve June as is and insert that orange little slice of time that you see there between the 3rd of July and the 16th of July to be able to do what we need to do with regard to our changes. And that comprises 8 work days because Tuesday, July 4th is a holiday. So we've tried to narrow down the window of impact as much as possible. Now, what can we do during that period of time? We know that we cannot shut down the campus entirely and say, okay, no fiscal activities, no HR activities. So we are developing a detailed plan, business continuity plans of, well, what can people do in that period of those 8 work days? We're developing that. There are lots of technical functional issues that we need to really figure out, and we'll be sharing that out with the community. You'll see that on our website. So those are details to come, but you have a lot of information to act on now as you prepare for the summer with your staff, with your teams. Right now, July 17th go live, that window of the 3rd to the 16th, in June being largely preserved. So at a high level, some of these things I've already touched on. That freeze period that I talked about in that 8-day workday window, there will be some period of time during that sliver, the 3rd to the 16th, where certain things can be done. And we'll be elaborating on that, as I said. But if you look on the right, the PHR impacts are that paychecks for the 7th and the 21st of July will be in our PHR system. This eases the transition because we know that July 1 has merit, COLA, new hires. So by allowing that to be in our PHR system, it will simplify that early transition. KFS impacts, end of fiscal year book close will happen in KFS for fiscal year 23, and fiscal year 24 will open in Workday on that July 17th date that I mentioned. And again, a great place for you to bookmark and go to is this section of our webpage, the Drive to Go Live. We will continue to populate that with more detailed information. I know all of you are saying, well, what's going to happen, for example, in that July 3rd to the 16th window? We'll have more and more of that information as we move into March. And again, you'll have that to guide you as to what to expect for the summer. So stay in touch, visit the website, and you'll be able to get more information. So I've talked about training, talked about Go Live, but what we know is that after Go Live, we need to support our users. We know that no matter how much training we all take, no matter what we do to prepare, it's still a new system. It's still going to face challenges as we all get used to a system after being on these other systems for so many years. So what we've done is build a Workday services team. This is a new unit within DIT, and that team is solely dedicated to the Workday platform support. This is approximately 30 full-time positions, new positions dedicated to Workday to be in place prior to go live. And that group is dedicated to supporting our users. The central business offices are also getting trained. Their knowledge transfer of the UHR Service Center, for example, will play the roles that they usually play. And then on top of all of this is another layer that we're calling hypercare. And that is, we know that in those first months, there's going to be a lot of inquiries, a lot of requests for assistance. So we want to have an even deeper bench. And so we are contracting with Huron, our implementation partner, and we'll have a group of individuals, expertise with Workday and our systems, and they'll be available for a full 6 months, go live through the end of this year to ensure that when you have questions, you need assistance, you need someone to hold your hand through a function and problem that you're having, you'll be able to get it and get the help readily. We know that's important to our users. We've heard that, we've seen that in other implementations. So we want to be sure that we're delivering that here. So, all right, I've talked about HCM and finance. I've talked about our critical decisions, preparing for training, what's going to happen for go live and after go live. I'm going to pivot here now and talk about our student system. And this is where it's a bit different across our partners. Student implementation is only relevant for University of Maryland College Park and our related systems at Shady Grove. Eastern Shore will have its own separate implementation project for their Workday student, but that will be separate and will happen in the future. So I just want to let you know that this is relevant for just a few of our partners. I'm pointing out to you that the student implementation will take us through fall of 2026 before we're fully live on that platform with Workday. But before that starts in January 2024, we wanted to do some early work to prepare for that multi-year project. And that red arrow that you see here in 2023 is student transformation and readiness. And this is, as the name implies, getting us ready for that large student implementation project. And this is what is involved over the upcoming months through the end of this year. We will be holding individual and small group discussions. These are underway now. What we're asking our user groups about is pain points in the current student information system. By the way, the student information system, if those of you who have not seen it or haven't had to use it, this is based on a programming language, COBOL, it's called, from the Eisenhower era. It is older than our students. And so it's very important for us to understand what do they struggle with now and what are the challenges that they face in our current system. And then we want to ask them, what would you like to see in a future system with Workday? What are some of the things that we can deliver and help us understand what you'd like? So you see that first check mark? We're having our initial meetings with graduate student government organizations and undergraduate student government association organizations. We will then engage every college's student advisory council, and we're scheduling meetings with administrators and staff who are involved with our undergraduate and graduate programs. We want to be sure that we are engaging all of our user groups to understand their perspective and deliver to them a system that's going to make life better. So the other thing that we're going to be doing in addition to these meetings is behind the scenes, we're assessing our current academic processes and our policies, because we want to be sure that we understand those policies and how they are going to connect with the Workday system. We're also developing a communication strategy for continuous engagement of our students and other stakeholders throughout the lifespan of the project through fall of 2026. We're talking to students, staff, and faculty now, but this is not a one and done. We're not going to meet with students in 2023 and say, okay, we'll talk to you again in fall of 2026. We want to have ongoing engagement with our students. We want them to be involved. We want to understand their needs, and we'll do that with our other stakeholder groups. The results of this initial report will be available at the end of this year to then inform the student implementation that will start in January 2024. So as I wrap up, I want to just emphasize to stay in touch with us. And the key ways to do that are to, again, I know I've said it before, visit our website. It is not static. It is continually being updated. Lots of information there, and videos of prior town hall meetings, videos of functional overviews, giving you an introduction to Workday. A great place to stay updated, a great place to learn about what's happening. You can subscribe to our monthly newsletter, and on our website, we have a portal where you can submit questions. Those questions are answered. So you should never feel like you have a lack of information. I also want to invite you to contact me directly. I'm happy to talk to you if any questions come up. And speaking of questions, I'm going to turn it back over to Gay as I catch my breath. Gay?
Awesome. Thank you, Jack. And I've been monitoring the questions a little bit that have been coming through. And there's actually one question that came in that I want to clarify. I think Nicole asked the question about KFS being available after or for reporting purposes. And maybe this is semantics because for me, but it's KFS Web that will be available for the reporting. I know a lot of you guys pull your reports from KFS Web, not directly from the KFS system. So KFS Web will be available after go live for some of those reporting. I know a lot of you guys have sponsors that you need to do quarterly reports for. So KFS Web will be your source for that. And with that, I didn't monitor all the questions, so my team has been taking care of those. But I do have some questions for you, Jack, that came in from some of the folks that registered. So when they register, they had an option to submit some questions. And so we've taken some of those questions and put together a list for you. They aren't categorized. They're just kind of as they came in. There is one question that we got in yesterday's town hall that I did want to include in this for you today, because you didn't have a chance to answer it yesterday. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, here we go. I got to put my glasses on for this. The first question we got pre-submit was, will there be a time when eTERP/PHR or other systems will be unavailable to use from now until July 23?
Right. So as I mentioned in the slide deck, access to these systems will largely be preserved from now through June. So people will continue to use those systems. Of course, in June, we have the typical end of fiscal year freeze dates. There might be some minor tweaks in there, but overall, that access will continue. Some transactions can be entered in PHR in July. They may need to be re-entered, manually entered in Workday when we go live. That's still to be determined, and we'll have clarifying information about that. And as I noted, that window of cutover from July 3rd to the 16th, we're developing details about what business activities, what functions will continue in that period, and what will be the last days that we can do things in certain systems. So again, the Drive to Go Live section of the Elevate website, as we know more about those particular dates in July, we'll provide that. But again, the major answer to your question is that these systems will remain active and functional through the month of June as they typically are.
Thanks. Next question, when will online training be available?
So online, on-demand, computer-based training will be available in Elms Canvas approximately mid-April. And again, we'll have detailed dates as we get closer to that, but mid-April is what you can expect. The most current course information registration links will be posted to the Elevate website in that training section that I showed you.
Next, when will business managers have access to test Workday prior to the go live date?
Right. So I mentioned our project implementation teams and the project implementation teams, each of them has a lead. We've also been working closely with our college and division business officers, our CBOs and DBOs. And so back on Friday, the 17th of February, we gave access to college division business officers and PIT leads to start going into the Workday system, getting familiar with it, and giving us feedback. We will then expand that access out to all of our PIT crew members. So we'll have over 350 staff coming into that Workday system. And the goal of that is semi-structured exploration and to get familiar with Workday. It's not training, but they're getting early exposure just to start getting familiar with Workday, and we can answer some questions and if issues arise. There will also be an opportunity for CBOs, DBOs, and our PIT crews to participate in what is being called user acceptance testing. And they'll go in at the beginning, the end of March through April, and they'll do that user acceptance testing with about 75 test scenarios. And that is, again, an opportunity to look at the processes, identify if there are any issues. We're working on details for early access to other business managers by April. So that will be more information expanding that population who could get early access going into April. And so more information that we'll post later on the website.
Next question. When can we see what the training for business office staff will be like?
Sure. So we're starting to provide that information now in Broadway, and then we're going to get more granular and more detailed as we move forward. But right now, there are training details that have been added to the Elevate website, including a table that lists the on-demand computer-based courses categorized by a general user, someone who needs to use HCM and finance areas. The table includes a description and the recommended and optional roles that are intended to take each course. But more specifically, we recently shared a training calculator with the PIT leads and the PIT crew members. So this is a tool that allows individuals to go through and see specifically what courses are being recommended for a particular staff member, a particular employee, based on the roles that they have. This calculator tool also provides an estimated training time that's required for those courses. So give a list of courses and then it will summarize the total hours that are estimated for those courses. As security roles get finalized, what people will be doing, what they have to have access to in Workday, we will get close, and then we get closer to the training registration in April, we plan to make that calculator tool more broadly available. So increasingly, there'll be more detailed information. And if you have questions about training in more details, your PIT crew could be a good resource for that. How did I do on that?
Yeah, no, good. Love it. Next question, and you might have got this in the presentation, but I think it's worth asking again. What are all the systems that Workday intends to replace?
It's a long list. I gave that in the table you noted in the slide deck. Also, the full list is available on the Elevate website, but chiefly it's going to involve PHR, KFS, eTERP, people admin. Those will go away and they will be retired. And all that functionality will be accomplished within Workday. And again, that Drive to Go Live section will give you information about that.
Good. This is one of the questions that we got in yesterday's town hall that we didn't have a chance to ask you, but I think it kind of fits in with what you're just talking about as far as getting ready and the training and whatnot. And the question that came in was, what can people in departments do to prepare for go live besides attending training?
Right. So a couple things come to mind. One is communication. It's great that we have 300 and almost 400 people in today's presentation. We had almost 400 yesterday. So 800 people sound like a lot for a town hall, but we are organizations with tens of thousands of employees, student, staff, and faculty. So we've had a high level of engagement and we've done a lot of presentations, but we know that there are individuals who still don't know all of the details and maybe are much less familiar with what's happening with Workday. So I would encourage individuals to engage their departments, their teams, and review what staff have questions, who's less familiar with what's happening. The Elevate website has resources that can help you, including 11 functional overviews. These are not training sessions, but we did monthly overviews, live presentations that we recorded starting last January of 2022 and through this year. And these are introductions to functionality in Workday. And it's a great way for people to start understanding how things will be done on the Workday platform, getting familiar with what it looks like, how to navigate it. More information reduces anxiety and helps people prepare before training. So I think engaging with your staff, your leadership, and making sure that there's communication out to everyone and people are engaging and learning. The other thing that we've been seeing is leadership taking a role in helping staff accommodate for the time that they're going to need to do training, right? We know that training is going to be deployed late April through the end of June. We know that coincides with a busy time. So one example, and I'm sure there are many other stories on campus, but one example came to me from the CMNS College. Amitabh Varshney, the dean, I spoke to him and his team last summer about this issue. And with all leadership starting last summer, the message I gave was, none of us should be entering this current semester business as usual. And we should look for ways to unburden our staff and to accommodate the time that they'll need for training. And so what CMNS has done is they asked their faculty to complete their faculty activity reporting, not by the campus deadline of March 17th, but they pulled that forward to February 17th. Why did they do that? The earlier they get that faculty information in, committees that work on merit, and we're planning on getting merit, and COLA, they can start that work earlier, stretch it out, so it's not getting compressed at the end of the semester during the time that staff will be training. So a really thoughtful way of thinking about how to help staff. One last example I'll give is that a department chair called me and said, my staff have some questions. I feel that maybe it'd be helpful for them to get a presentation and an opportunity to ask those questions. So we set up a meeting. I presented with Gay, and we talked to the DAS and their team. And beginning of the meeting, anxiety, questions, uncertainty. End of the meeting, there was relief and better understanding, and we followed up with some other information when they had some new questions. So engage us when you have questions, engage the website, engage with your PIT crews, your PIT leads, to ask questions so people are fully informed. That's going to go a long way as we prepare in addition to training, and I'll stop there.
Awesome. Thank you. That was great. All right, we have time for one more question, and I saved this one. It's probably one of my favorites. But you gave in the presentation an update on where the go, no-go findings stand. So the question this person has is, how confident is the team that the workday will go live as planned in July?
Yeah, so right now we're confident. But as I noted, this is not a static decision. It is a decision that is continually updated. We'd had that go, no go evaluation of 278 items in early February. We'll go through that same process again in late March. And early April, we'll have another go, no go evaluation. And that allows us to, again, see where are we? Or did we make the kind of progress that we expected? And by the way, when we did this evaluation in February, there were a few things that we looked at and said, hey, this is not entirely on track the way we expected. This is something that we want to flag as a concern and an issue that we want to monitor. And we want to see improvement on that by the time we meet again in March. So right now, confident, but we continually reevaluate that. Because we're in such a critical phase, we've also added a weekly report to our sponsors. And that weekly report summarizes what is the progress we made since the prior Friday, and is there anything that we want to alert leadership to that we are monitoring? And that goes in every week. So again, confident right now, we continue to monitor it. Next big review will be end of March, April, so that before we go into training, we'll have a confident statement about whether we're ready to do that. Does that help?
Yep, that's great. I appreciate your candor on that last question. With that, we're about at time. So I want to thank everyone. Before we wrap up, two quick reminders. One, we will be posting this recording to the website. You'll get an email when it is available. And second, the questions. I know that we've gotten some questions in there. I haven't been able to, if we've answered all of them or not. So if you've asked a question, whether pre-submit or in session that we have not had an opportunity to address, be assured that we will be following up with you individually. And some of these questions may make it to the frequently asked question or the FAQ section of our website, because we appreciate what you guys are asking. You're asking some great stuff. And so on behalf of myself and Jack, the rest of my team here on the call, and the entire Elevate program staff, we thank you for attending today, and we look forward to seeing you at future Elevate events. Thank you.